If you're looking to unlock your foot and ankle mobility, then you're gonna love today's video. Your foot and ankle are literally your body's first connection point to the ground. So if your feet and ankles are stiff, rigid, or immobile, chances are it's not only gonna impact your foot and ankle, but your entire kinetic chain. Now your knees, your hips, your lower back are all gonna take a beating simply because you don't have enough mobility in your lower extremity. Now, here's the thing. I can talk from experience. I've had basically every lower body injury known to man. I've sprained my ankles like 787 times, turf toe, heel contusions, you name it, I've had it. So this is a video that's very important to me because I've dealt with these issues and I've tried to help the clients and athletes that I've worked with over the years unlock their feet and ankles with this exact mobility routine. Now, before we dive into the video, take 2 seconds out of your day, hit the like button and subscribe to this channel so you know each and every week when a new video drops. Now, let's dive in and unlock those feet and ankles. Okay, before we get started, a couple pieces of equipment. Now don't get overwhelmed because I realize I've got like 5 pieces here, but I guarantee you can find almost all of these things at your house somewhere, okay? So to start, I've got a lacrosse ball. Great for working on the feet and the calves. If you don't have access to this, use a tennis ball. It'll work just fine. A tiger's tail. We're gonna work on the front of your shin here. If you don't have access to this, use a roller, like a rolling pin. Band. If you don't have a band, use a towel, like a long beach towel would work just fine. A roller, not really replaceable. Somebody asked this on one of my previous videos. Please just invest 10, 15 bucks, get a roller. Last but not least, we have an AirX pad. Great for protecting the knees. If you don't have an AirX pad, just roll up a towel, fold it over, and you're gonna be just fine. All right, so let's dive in. We're gonna start with R1 or release. So what we're gonna do, get this stuff out of the way. We are gonna use our lacrosse ball or a tennis ball, and we are just gonna work on the underside of our foot. So what I like to do here is kind of roll front to back, smooth and controlled. And the primary area you're gonna wanna focus on here is kind of from your big toe up to or up and around your heel. Okay, so just take 20, 30 seconds. I don't know how long I'm gonna go here, but something that hopefully you can follow along with, and you can just feel kind of those tight or crunchy areas. Just go nice and slow, work on anything that feels really stiff or restricted. Try and spend a little bit more time there. So we're gonna work on the feet, then we're gonna come down and we're gonna work on the calves. So a couple areas I like to work on here, right directly on the Achilles, and then on either side of the calf, right below the knee are gonna be the most impactful areas. So here, you're just gonna kind of move around side to side, try and loosen all of that lower Achilles, gastroc, soleus, that whole area up. Again, just kind of loosen it up and then take the ball, just move it up a little bit higher. What you're gonna find is this area on the outside, just below the knee, can get really tender. You got your gastroc there, you've got your hamstring that crosses over there. So a lot of stuff goes on behind that knee that can be problematic and can really rob you of your ankle mobility. So same thing here, just go 20, 30 seconds each side, and then we'll hit the other side as well, spin around. So again, this time I'll just start up top, work on that outer section right below the knee. This side isn't quite as bad. Get on the inside behind the knee, and I tried to use an orange ball, so hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing there. Paul is working his magic with the camera. And then I'll go down and work on that Achilles. So really pretty straightforward stuff here. Again, it's more about being individual. So if you've got a certain area that's stiff or restricted, make sure you spend a little extra time on that. So that's for the lacrosse ball. Now we're gonna use this tiger tail. And what you're gonna wanna do here is just work on this muscle right here on the outside of your shin. It's called your tibialis anterior. So a lot of times I'll just kind of pull gently up from basically the bottom of my tibialis all the way up to just below my knee joint. And I'll just do 5, 6 passes here. But you'll find if you can unlock this muscle, very important for unlocking your tibial internal rotation, or basically that ability to drive your knee over your toe. So again, 5, 6 good passes, put enough pressure so that you feel it, but not so much that you're crying out in pain when you do this. Okay, once we've gone through our R1, our release work, now we're gonna do a reset activity. This is called a wall-supported dorsiflexion squat, and it's fantastic for starting to unlock the feet and the ankles. So what we're gonna do here, we're gonna come back, put our back up against a wall. We're gonna get really heel heavy. Okay, you can even lift your toes up, find your heels. Once I'm in this position, I've got good heel contacts. Now I'm trying to push my knees over my toes. I'm gonna reach long, and I'm gonna breathe. When you start to feel like you've got the position, find those heels and try and sit a little bit lower, push those knees over those toes. If you're doing this right, you're gonna feel that tibialis, the anterior, start to turn on, and it's really gonna start to light up not only the tibialis, but also your quad muscles as well. So a lot of times I'll do this for one set, 10 to 15 breaths, and then I'll jump into my R3 or my readiness exercises. All right, once we've gone through our reset, now we're gonna dive in and we're gonna start doing just a little bit of general mobility work. We're gonna start with what's called our rock and roll, and you may be thinking like, how does this impact my foot and ankle? But what's very important is being able to manage our center of gravity. We gotta keep our center of gravity back, and if we can open up the back side of our body, that's gonna keep everything back. It's gonna allow our foot and ankle muscles to relax, and ultimately it's just gonna help improve our mobility. So to do this, what you wanna do is take your hands, kind of wrap them behind your thighs, and then we're just gonna roll kind of as smooth as we can front to back. Generally what I'll do is inhale, exhale when I come up. Inhale, exhale as I come up. And I'll just do, anywhere from 8 to 10 reps. The days when I'm a little bit stiffer, immobile, or it feels like I'm rolling a block instead of a circle, then I'll do a few more reps, but 8 to 10 is generally plenty to get you going. Okay, so our next activity is a leg lowering. This is where you're gonna need your band or your long towel, whatever you have access to. So I'm gonna take the band, I'm gonna put it around my midfoot, I'm gonna lay on my back, and then what's most important here, you wanna think about flexing your quad and pulling your toes back towards your face. You're gonna relax your head and neck, and then just exhale as you come down. So you're really thinking about flexing the quad, pulling the toes back on that up leg, keeping that core tight and your lower back flat as you're lowering your leg down. Now, if that's too challenging, or you don't have a band or you don't have a towel, do this in a doorway. Do it in a rack at your gym. Whatever you have access to is totally fine. So I'll generally do like 6 to 8 reps each side. Again, on days where I'm stiffer or tighter, I'll do a few more, but this feels great and I feel an awesome stretch, not only through my whole calf, but especially behind my knee. A lot of times people think that's their hamstring, it's actually their gastroc, so they're getting a nice stretch through that lower leg. Okay, our next activity is a toe rocker, and all we're trying to do here is unlock or recapture some of that great toe mobility. It may sound silly, but I had turf toe when I was like a junior in college. It's one of the most debilitating things I've ever had. It sounds silly, but if we can recapture that great toe extension, it's really gonna make your entire foot and lower leg feel better. So in this case, all I want you to do, if I'm working on my right leg or my right toe, my left foot's a little bit in front, and then I'm just thinking about pushing up and all the way through that big toe. It doesn't look like a lot, but the focus is solely on that big toe, trying to push and finish all the way through. And you should almost feel a little stretch or activation through the entire sole of your foot, for lack of a better term. So again, you're gonna go anywhere 6 to 10 reps, depending on how this feels. It doesn't look like a lot, but it's really more about making sure that you're getting that full push and that full extension through your big toe. Once you've done that, we're gonna move in. We are gonna do some ankle circles. So here's where your roller comes into play. You don't have a roller, you don't need a roller. Steady yourself on a rack, on a couch, whatever you have nearby or whatever you have access to. So I'm just gonna use this to stabilize myself. When I do this ankle roll, all I'm trying to think about is working through the fullest range of motion that I can, and I'm trying to do it slow and controlled. This is not a race, okay? So left foot is anchored, right foot, toes are pulled up, and then I'm just trying to work through whatever range I have access to. And again, it's trying to be smooth. It's trying to be controlled. So I'll generally do about 5 each direction. And you guys can even see, if it looks kind of ratchety, those are the areas that are stiff or immobile for me. And again, my right ankle, I can't tell you how many times I sprained this thing between volleyball and basketball, landing on people's feet, planning, cutting, going into that cut, never coming out. Happened more times than I would like to remember. So you can see the left side, much smoother, much better control, and a lot less ratchety, for lack of a better term, when I'm moving. So the ankle circle is an absolutely awesome activity. Again, they don't look like much, but they will do wonders for loosening things up. So now let's grab our towel or our AirX pad, whatever we have access to here. And what I want you to do, again, we're gonna use this roller, but it's more for stability than anything else. So here, I want you to find a good heel contact, and then once your heel is set, all you're thinking about is keeping your weight through your heel while driving your knee over your toe. Probably not gonna be a lot of range of motion here. A lot of times people really struggle. What they'll try and do is come forward on their toes and they'll say, oh, look at all the ankle motion I have. But it's not really ankle motion. Make sure that ankle is centered and strong, then push the knee over the toe. And don't worry about what range you have to start. It's not about where you start, it's where you finish up with this stuff. So here I'll generally go 6 to 8 reps. You get a nice stretch in kind of this posterior compartment, for lack of a better term, and then I'll spin around and I'll do it on the other side. So the key, most important thing, make sure you feel that heel first and then drive the knee over the toe. While you're doing this too, one other thing you'll feel, your foot should flatten out a little bit. That's totally normal, that's totally natural. So as you drive that knee forward, the foot should flatten out, and that's gonna even increase that stretch on the backside of your calf even more. Okay, 2 more activities, starting with our mini bowler squat. So all we're trying to do here is start integrating the foot, the ankle, the lower leg, the knee, trying to get all of that to where it's gliding and moving forward more naturally. So what you're gonna do, let's start with our left foot, try and get a nice stable foot position, and then from here, all we're doing is trying to sit down and let our knee track over our second toe. So you can do it where you're like stepping behind. I like that at some points in time, but if we're just chasing mobility and just trying to loosen up the ankle and foot, I'm just gonna keep this back leg steady so I'm nice and stable, and I can just let that knee glide straight over my toe. So 5, 6 reps, then we'll switch it up. Again, good stable foot position, letting that knee come forward. Make sure you're keeping a good heel contact here too. Just like on the previous exercise, if you get pushed forward, you're not really stretching and mobilizing your ankle the way that you'd like. Okay, our final activity to unlock our feet and ankles is a reaching split squat. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna use the reach, and we're really gonna emphasize the reach to help us find our heel. And then once we have our heel, now we're trying to drive our knee over our toe. So we're set up in just a good standard split squat position, reaching long to keep our thorax back. And then as we come down, really trying to emphasize driving the knee over the toe. And again, if you can't balance or you struggle with balance, find something to support yourself with. You can do it in a rack, you can do it in a doorway, whatever you have access to. So we'll go 5, 6 reps here. The other great thing is when you're doing this, if you're doing all the right things and you're feeling these ankles on lock, you should really start to feel your quads turn on and engage as well. All right, my friend, that does it for this week's video on foot and ankle mobility. Give this a shot, do it regularly. I guarantee it's gonna make a huge impact in how not only your foot and ankle feel, but the rest of your body as well. Now, before I let you go, if you are struggling with your hip mobility as well, be sure to watch this video. It's my all-time highest rated, most watched video, and it will absolutely help you unlock your hips, your lower back, your knees, your entire lower body. So make sure you give that a watch. As always, thank you so much for watching, and make it a great day.